Okay, so hi guys, good morning. Can you please confirm me over the chat window is my voice is audible to all of you, and can you all see my screen? Can you drop me a chat message on GoToWebinar?
Type anything there. Okay. Just it, I'll tell you. You can speak also.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so I got acknowledgement from one student. So how about others, guys?
Sir, one student is here. Her name is Supriya.
Okay, okay, that's great. Okay, so guys, can you please do one thing? Like, can you please mute yourself when you don't have any question, because I'm seeing some background noise coming in.
Sir,
So whenever you have a question, yeah, tell me.
you mute them.
Actually, I tried, but I'm not able to mute them. So I think I don't have the admin controls or something.
Okay, I'll just check.
Can you make me a presenter? So I think then I will receive the. Okay. So background noise is gone. Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for joining this particular session. So I can see there are a couple of students who have joined it. So I would just like to introduce with the course. So basically what we are going to learn in this particular course is we will be learning how to develop the Android applications. Okay, so what today's session we will be working on. So in today's session, we will be mostly working on the setting up the environment, setting up the Android SDK, and basically we will see like how you can install the tools and how you can start developing applications for Android. Okay, so before that, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Vipul, and I have been working on the Android and iOS since last 5 years. So it's been almost since December I have been working on the Android and iOS application development, and I'm conducting online training since last almost 3 years. So I'm active contributor on the Stack Overflow. I work with Deloitte organization, and we create applications for Android and the mobile platform. Okay, so let's begin with today's session. So the tool that you would be using for creating the Android applications is called as Android Studio. Okay, and guys, at any moment, if you have any questions or any doubts, please let me know. I can see the indicator is disabled for Swati. So Swati, are you still present in the webinar? Can you please confirm me? Are you able to hear my voice? Oh, okay, you're there. Great. Okay, so yeah. So I will start with the Android Studio installation. So what we have to do is, so you have to just search for the Android Studio in the search box, and it will take you to this particular link. So Android Studio is basically the integrated development environment. It is the editor that you would be using for creating the Android applications. Okay, so Android Studio has got a lot of options. It enables you to create applications for the mobile platform, tablet platform, as well as smartwatch. So if you go onto the Android Studio page, it will show you all the options which are available in Android Studio IDE, and also it will give you option to download the Android Studio. So I can just search for Android Studio download, and it will take me to the link where I will get an option for downloading the Android Studio. So right now it is giving me option for downloading Android Studio for Mac. You can download the Android Studio for Windows or Linux. So basically whatever platform they are working on. I can click on other download options, and it will give me rest of the platforms over there. Okay, so this is how you would be downloading the Android Studio basically, and once you download it, you will be opening the Android Studio. So once you download and if you install the Android Studio, and when you try to open the studio, you would be getting this particular screen. Okay, So basically what is going to happen is, so when you download and install the Android Studio, it is going to show you the welcome screen when you start it first, and it will show you all the recent projects that you have created till now. And on the right hand side, it will give you options to start new project or open existing project, something like that. Okay, so if you go onto the right hand side, you would be seeing an option to start a new Android Studio project. So using this, you can create a new Android project. So whatever code snippets that I would be sharing you at the end of the course, you can basically import or open those code snippets using open an existing Android Studio project option. So you can click on this particular icon and it will allow you to import an existing project. You can check out the project from the version control. So in case if you are working in the team environment, so when during the course I would also explain you about what is meant by working in team environment. But basically you can check out the project from the version control. You can import project from Eclipse. Before Android Studio, we used to use Eclipse for creating the Android applications. So it was the old IDE that we used to use, but now we have shifted to the Android Studio. But if you or your colleagues are still working on the Eclipse, you can import your Eclipse project in Android Studio using this particular option. Then you will be getting Android code sample option, configure and all. So right now what I'm going to do is, after opening the Android Studio, I'm going to click on configure, and again there you will see a set of options. So the option that I will be clicking on, it is called as the SDK manager. So what you have to remember, you have to download and install the Android Studio. After that, you have to go into something called as SDK manager. So how did I go over there? So here I clicked on configure and there I clicked on SDK manager. So SDK manager is a basically manager which allows you to install SDK tools. Okay, so what it does basically, so when you're working on the Android application development, you have to make sure that we have got the latest platform installed on the computer, so that when you're starting with the application development, you are making sure that your application will run on all the latest platforms. So after going there, what you will be clicking on? You will be clicking on launch standalone SDK manager. So this is the further step in the installation. And now you can see over here. So basically what is happening is I'm seeing a lot of options over here, and you will notice that it will list down all possible Android versions. So if you are the Android user, you must be knowing about this particular versions. So we have version 6.0, 5.0 and all the sort. So what I am going to make sure, I'm going to expand Android 6.0 version, and there I will click on documentation, SDK and samples. So these three things you will have to install. So what things you will have to install? So you will see a lot of options under that. So you don't need to install all the things. You just need to click on documentation and you will download it. Then you have to click on SDK platform, and then you have to click on samples for SDK, and you will be downloading those three options over there. After that, you will be clicking on Google API and sources for Android SDK. So in Android 6.0, you would be downloading these options over there. Okay, so guys, is that clear to all of you? Like, what are the options that you will be downloading from Android 6.0 SDK? Any doubts over here? Any questions? Okay, great. Okay, so you will make sure that you are downloading and installing these options. The next thing that you would be doing is you will be going into the tools folder. Okay, and in tools folder, you will make sure that you are downloading the latest Android SDK tools. You are downloading the Android SDK platform tools and Android SDK build tools. So these three tools you will be downloading and installing. So when I say download and install, so basically what you are going to do over there is you are going to select these particular checkboxes and you will be clicking on install packages. Okay, so what you will be doing, you will be selecting those checkboxes and you will be clicking on install packages. And what it is going to do, it is going to install those packages for you. Okay, so this is from the tools folder. So what we have done is from the tools folder, we have basically installed the packages. Then in Android 6.0, we have selected these appropriate options and we have installed them. And finally, I will go into the extras folder. So we are not going to take a look at all the other SDKs because even though we have these many SDKs available, but still I'm just going to install the latest SDK. Okay, so we will not keep installing all the SDKs over there. Then I will jump into the extras folder and I will make sure that I'm basically installing all the options available out there. Okay, so the only option that I'm not going to install, it is the Google USB driver. The reason I'm not going to install Google USB driver because it is not compatible with Mac, but in Windows, in case if you're working on Windows, then you will have to install this option as well. So ultimately what you are going to do is you are going to select everything from the extras and you will be installing those things. Okay, so once you do that, once the installation is successful, so now you will be ready for creating the Android applications. Okay, so I have installed these many things, and now what I'll do is I'll just click on close. So now my studio is installed and I have also installed the Android SDK tools. So now you can go ahead and you can start creating the applications. Okay, so I will just start the Android Studio again. Okay, so when I launch the Android Studio, I'm going to receive this particular screen, and then you will be getting an option to start a new project, open an existing project and all. Okay, so what we are going to do over here is, so since my already tools are installed, now I'm going to click on start new Android Studio project. And there now you will be getting an option to select the application name and select the company domain. Okay, so application name, so since this is our first lecture, I'm going to start with Hello World application. So what I'm doing, I'm saying create a new Android Studio project. There I'm specifying the application name as Hello World. Company domain, so whatever company that you are working in, basically, so in case if you are working as a freelancer, I can just write Hello World, or in case if you are working for any particular company, you can mention the company name over there. So I will mention company domain as Hello World, and you have to specify the project location basically, so where your project is going to get saved. So what I'll do is I'll go onto desktop and I'll create a project folder as Android training, and today date is 4th January, right? So I will write 4th Jan. So I'm creating the project folder called as Android training 4th Jan, and whatever project that we will be creating, we will be saving those projects in this particular folder. So here what I do is I'll click on browse, and on the desktop I'm going to select Android training 4th Jan folder and click OK. Okay, and now there my project will get saved. So now when you create the Android application, it is going to ask you whether you want to create the application for phone and tablet, or VR, or TV, auto, or glass. So which option you want to select? So I will select option as phone and tablet, and there you will keep the minimum SDK as 15. So 15 means this application will run on all the versions starting from 4.03 and above. So whenever you're creating an Android application, so you have to select like what is the minimum version that your application will run on. So I can say like my application will run on all the devices which are having version 4.0.3 and above. But my application will not run on the devices which has a version less than 4.0.3. Okay, so I'm going to keep the minimum SDK as 4.0.3. Click next. And now when you click on next, you will be getting a template like, so what template you want to select. So I will go with the empty activity. So I want to create an application with empty activity. So I will select this particular activity and click next. So what is in the activity? So activity means screen. So when you are working in the mobile environment, you will be having screens and you will be having activities over there. Okay, so activity name I can give it as main activity. So each screen is called as activity in Android. So if you have a login screen, it is a login activity. If you have the registration screen, it is the registration activity. So here my activity name is main activity. And it will also have a layout. So basically what we are going to do, we are going to keep our Java code in the separate file and we will keep our XML code in the separate file. So for creating the layouts in Android, we use XML, and for writing business logic, we use the Java language. So the XML file name will be activity underscore main and the activity name will be main activity. So if my activity name is login activity, then I will keep my layout name as activity underscore login. If my activity name is welcome activity, then I will keep my layout name as activity underscore welcome. So I'm keeping my activity name as main activity, and now let's click on finish. Okay, so now it is creating the project for us. So it will take some time depending on your computer configuration to create a new project. Okay, so new project has been created, and when the new project gets created, you will see this option. So basically what it will do is it will start the activity and it will start the layout for you. So in the activity, what you can see is you can see there is a main activity and which is extending the app compact activity over here. And then we have got the layout file activity underscore main. Okay, so here we will access the business logic and activity underscore main is the file where we will create the UI, where we will create the user interface for your application. So now if you notice over here, so when I open the activity underscore main, I can see the layout file over there. So I'm basically seeing the label, I'm seeing the blank canvas or something. So what we are going to do, basically we are going to create two text fields over there and one button, submit. Okay. So we are going to create the layout in which I will have two text fields and one button over here. Okay. So what I am going to do is I'm going to create, so whenever you see the UI, so you can edit that particular UI in the XML. So you can see, if you go at the bottom, you will see a section that is called as design. And beside that design section, you will see a section that is called as text. So I'm going to click on text. And in the text section, you can see there is a file called as activity underscore main. So here you see the XML code. So basically whatever code that you will write in the XML, it is going to get translated into your user interface. So what we are going to start with, so today we are going to concentrate on the linear layout. So in Android, you have the layout. So basically whenever you want to add multiple controls, you would be adding those particular controls in the layout file. So the layout that we are going to use for this program, it is called as the linear layout. And inside the linear layout, you would notice that there are few attributes, layout width and layout height. And the attributes are match parent, match parent. So guys, can you take a look at this particular attribute and tell me like what do you feel like what is the use of this attribute? So what this statement is going to do basically? Can you give it a thought and tell me what may be a reason of adding these two attributes and what they will do? You can in fact speak over the headphones also if you have the headphones attached. So my question was, what do you feel? What could be a meaning of layout width and layout height, and the meaning of match parent? Okay, so I'm not receiving any response. So let me tell you. So what is meant by layout with match parent is your entire screen is going to take. So basically, this layout is going to take your entire screen in width. And when you write layout height as match parent, it means this is going to take entire screen as a height. Okay, so your layout basically going to expand itself so that it will take the entire width and entire height of the screen. Okay, so you have a match parent and you have a wrap content. So wrap content means take as minimum width as possible and take as minimum height as possible. So that's it. That is the meaning of the wrap content, wrap content. So now you can see. So now if I see the preview, it is just taking as minimum width and as minimum height that's required. But if I give it as match parent, so now what is happening? So it is checking the entire width of the screen. If I give the height as match parent, so it is going to take the entire height of the screen. Okay, so these are the things. Then inside the layout, what you can do, you can also apply the paddings. So you can apply the padding on the left hand side, on the right hand side, top and the bottom side. So we are applying the padding as 16 dp. So what is meant by that is, so whenever you apply the padding, you will have some spacing between the elements and the edge of the screen. So let's say if I remove padding left and see what is going to happen. And now you can see. So if I remove padding left, what is going to happen is your text view will not have any margin or any spacing on the left hand side. Okay, but if I add padding left again, so now my text view will again have the space on the left hand side. So that's a main purpose of adding the paddings. Okay, so you have padding left. In the same way, you can also have padding right, padding top, and padding bottom. So you can have the padding on all the four sides. So inside the linear layout, what I'm having over there, so I'm having the text view. So text view, you can see now, the width and height is given as wrap content. So what does it mean? It means that text view will take as minimum width as it requires and as minimum height as it requires. Okay, so it is going to be wrap content, wrap content. So what does it mean? It means it is not going to take the entire width and entire height of the view. It is just going to take the wrap content, wrap content. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is, since this is a linear layout, I'm going to specify the orientation, in which orientation I want to add the elements. So I will specify the orientation as vertical. So what does vertical means? It means the elements that you will be adding to the layout, those elements you will be adding in the vertical fashion. Okay. If the orientation is horizontal, then all the elements that you will be adding to the layout, those elements will be in the horizontal fashion. Okay. So orientation vertical means you will be adding the elements in the vertical manner. Orientation horizontal means you will be adding the elements in the horizontal manner. Okay. So yeah, so that's the thing. And now what I'm going to do inside the linear layout, I'm going to create a button. So you can see, so now I have received the button and I can give it a width and height as wrap content, and I can give the text as, I can write the text as okay, something like that. Okay, so just hold on for a second. Okay, yeah, sorry boss. Okay, so now what we are doing is now we are creating the button and we are giving the width and height as wrap content, and the text that I'm putting over there, it is click me please. Okay, so now what we are going to do inside this particular linear layout is we are going to specify something called as edit text. So what is meant by edit text? So edit text is the element which allows you to take the inputs from the user. Okay, so we are creating an element that is called as edit text, and the width I'm going to keep it as match parent. So match parent means this edit text is going to take the entire width in the screen, and height I'm going to specify it as wrap content. Okay, it means now you can see. So in the preview, if you see, I have created the edit text with the width as match parent and height as wrap content. So now you can just go ahead and you can start typing the contents inside the edit text. Okay, so this is my first edit text. Now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make one more edit text. So you have got edit text 1, and below that you have got edit text 2. So for first edit text, I can add a hint. So you can also add a property called as hint. And in the hint property, I can say enter your username. So what does hint means? Hint means it is going to give the hint to the user, like what he has to do inside that particular edit text. For this particular edit text, I will specify the hint as enter your password. Okay, and below I have a button, so I can just give the title as login. So we have got two edit text, enter your username, and then we have got the edit text, enter your password, and then we are getting over there a text that is called as login. Okay, so two edit texts are there, and there is one button called as login. So now what we are going to do, now let's run this particular application on mobile. So once you develop the application in Android, so you can either run that particular application on the mobile, or you can run that particular application on the tablets. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to run this particular application on mobile. So either you can connect your actual device to the laptop and you can run the application on that, or you can start the something called as emulator. So what does emulator means? It means like if you don't have the access to the actual device, what you can do is you can go into the tools. So there is an option called as tools, Android, and there you will see something called as Android Virtual Device Manager. Okay, so if you see over there, so you have to go into the tools, you have to go into the Android, and you have to click on AVD Manager, Android Virtual Device Manager. And there you can create the virtual device. So right now I already have a virtual device. I'm just going to delete that. So when you go over there, it will give you option to create a new virtual device. I will say create new virtual device. I will select Nexus 6P. So when you create a virtual device, you can select the phone model for which you want to create a virtual device. So I will select Nexus 6P. Click next. And basically you'll be getting an option. So like it is showing me all the SDKs over there. So what I'm going to do is now I'm again going to jump into the SDK manager, and we have to install the emulator. Okay, so till now we have just installed the SDK, but now what I'm going to do, I'm going to install the emulator. So for installing the emulator, what we are going to do over here is we are going to select something called as Intel x86 Atom image, and I'm going to select. So you can see there is a TV Wear. So we don't want the emulator for the Android TV. We don't want the emulator for the Android Wear device. I want emulator for the Android x86 Atom. So I'm going to select this particular option, and then I'm going to select the second option over there. Okay, So these two options I will select and I will click on install two packages. And what it is going to do basically, it is going to install those two packages for me. So you can see over there, so size of packages are pretty big, like almost 505 MB and 303 MB over there. So what you have to do, you will have to wait for some time and you will have to install them, and then you can start with the Android emulator. Okay, so these things you will have to install, these two things you will have to install to make sure that your Android emulator is running perfectly fine. Okay, or what you can do is, if you don't want to use Android's own emulator, you can use the third-party service that is called as Genymotion. So if you go on to the genymotion.com, so Genymotion is basically a third-party service which helps you to create the emulators. So you can see. So we are on to the Genymotion page, and there you can basically sign in. So you will have to create a free account on the Genymotion, and you can enter your username and password. So basically, when you enter your username and password, finally it will give you the option to download the Genymotion emulator. Okay. So what you will be doing, you will be entering your username and password, and once you enter your username and password, it is going to offer you the download option. Okay, so it is just going to be an exe file which you will be installing on your desktop, and once you install the Genymotion on the desktop, and if you open it, you will see something like this. Okay, so I'm seeing I have got the Genymotion, and right now I'm seeing one Google Nexus 5X device over there, but you would not see that because you have newly installed it. So what you will be doing, you will be again clicking on plus symbol. There you will be selecting Android version 6.0, means I want to install the emulator for 6.0. You will be selecting the appropriate device and click next. Okay, so what you are going to do, you are basically going to select the appropriate device option in that list, and you are going to click on next. And what it will do, it will basically enable you to download that particular emulator. Okay, so after selecting the item, I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to click on next, and when I click on next, what it will do, it will start downloading the emulator for me. Okay, so again it is going to be almost like 300-400 MB, so it will take some time, but finally you would see the entry something like this. Okay, and once you get this entry, you can click on start, and what it will do, it will start the emulator for you. So you can see this is the Android emulator, and now in this particular emulator I can install the applications, I can run and test the applications. So it is like actual device. The only thing is you would not able to make a call, or you would not able to send the SMS from the emulator. But you can still install the applications, you can run the applications, and you can basically use it like your actual device, apart from making calls and SMS. So we have started the emulator. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump into my code and I'm going to click on this particular play icon. If you notice, on top we have got the run icon. I'm just going to click on that. Android Studio will say that the Genymotion emulator is running. You want to use that? I will say use it and press OK. And what your Android Studio is going to do now is it is going to install that application on the Genymotion emulator. Okay, and now you can see. So we are getting two edit text over there, and we are getting one button called as login. So now you can enter your credentials and you can click on the login button over there, and you will able to log in into the application. So that logic we have not written yet, but now we have got the basic UI, like which is asking you to enter your username and which is asking you to enter your password, and it is giving you the login button over there. Okay, so guys, I request you to go through this particular code and let me know if you have any queries or questions over here. So please go through this particular code and let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, so no query. And how about you, Swati? Any question in this code? Okay, that's great. Okay, so what we have done over here basically, so we have created a simple UI in which we have got two edit text and we have got one login button over there. Okay, and now what you can do is you can enter the credentials over there and you can click on login, and what it will do, it will basically allow you to log in into the app. So let's say now what I want to do is, now user is going to enter his username, user is going to enter his password, and he's going to click on login button. And what I want when he clicks on the login button is, I want to show the pop-up on the screen, like with the credentials that user has entered. So now I will have to write some Java code over here. So we have got two edit texts. So for first edit text, I'm going to assign the ID. So we are going to assign the unique identifiers for my controls. Okay. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to assign the unique identifiers for my control. So for the first edit text, I'm going to put the ID over there, and the ID that I'm going to write. So you can write any ID, but here I will write the ID as username edit text. Then for the second edit text, I'm going to add the ID as password edit text. Okay. So what we have done over here, so we have given the unique identifiers for these controls. So for the first control, I'm giving the identifier as username edit text. And for the second control, I'm giving the ID as password edit text. For button, I will assign the ID as login button. Okay. And since it's a password field, I'm going to set the input type as well. So input type is going to be text password. So what does it mean? It means that whatever you will be typing in, that won't be visible to the user. So let's test that. I'm going to run the application. Enter your username and now enter your password. Now you can see. So now we are not getting any text over there. So it is entirely a password text. Okay. So it is happening because of what we have written. We have written the input type as text password. Okay. So now let's write some Java code. So now what I want to do is I want to write the Java code so that when user clicks on the button, I want to show a pop-up with his username and password. So now what I'll do is, now I'm going to get into the Java code. So we have got two edit text, username edit text, password edit text, and the login button. Now what I'll do, I will go into the Java code and then I will define those same things. So I will create edit text, username edit text, password edit text, and then we will have a button, login button. Okay, so we have got two edit text over there. One is called as username edit text, one will be password edit text, and we will have the login button over there. And now what we will write? Username edit text is equal to edit text find view id r.id dot username edit text, password edit text is equal to edit text find view id r.id dot password edit text. So ultimately what we are doing, we are basically referencing the two edit texts which we have written inside the Java file. And finally I will write login button is equal to button find view id r.id dot login button. Okay, so what we have got over here, so we have got two edit texts, username edit text and the password edit text, and we have got something called as login button. And now what I want, when you click on the login button, I want to get the name and the password which user has written inside those edit text. So for that, to get those click event, so I want to perform that action only when user clicks on the button. So how will you get the notification when user clicks on the button? So how will you receive that event that user has clicked on the button? So for that, I'm going to write implements on click listener. So implements on click listener is basically an interface which I'm implementing, and what does it tell? It tells the main activity that it should listen for the on click events. And I'm going to override the method on click, and below login button I will write login button dot set on click listener. Yes. Okay. So ultimately what it is going to do, it is going to tell that whenever user clicks on the login button, you will be receiving the notification in the on click method. Okay. So on click is the method basically where you will be receiving the notification. And now inside the on click, what I will write? Now here I will write string username is equal to username edit text dot get text dot toString, and here it is going to be string password is equal to password edit text dot get text dot toString. So how do you get the text which user has written inside the text field? So you will be calling a method called as get text, and when you call get text, you will be basically receiving the information what user has typed in the username edit text and the password edit text. So once you get the username and password, now you will be showing the pop-up on the screen. So for showing the pop-up on the screen, we are going to use the API that is called as Toast. So Toast is the API which is going to help you to display a pop-up on the screen or kind of alert dialog. So I'm going to say toast.makeText. First one will be this. This means I want to display that pop-up in this activity. Then we have username and password. So I will say username plus password, and finally I'm going to say toast dot length long dot show. Okay, so ultimately what you are going to do over here, so you are going to read the username, you are going to read the password, and when you click on the button, it is going to show you the pop-up message with that username and with that password over there. So now let's run the application again. So we have 0 warnings, 0 errors. And now it is asking you to enter your username. I will put as Vipul. Enter your password. I'm going to put it as 123456 and click on login. And now you can see what is happening. So now when I click on login, it is showing me the pop-up with the name as Vipul, and it is showing me the pop-up with the password as 123456 over there. So this is a simple application which we have created. So what we are doing inside it, so we are entering the username and password, and we are clicking on button, and when you click on the button, it is going to show the pop-up message with that username and password over there. Okay, so guys, just go to this particular program and let me know if you have any queries. Just go to that source file and let me know. Okay, so Toast is basically used for showing the pop-up message on the screen. So if you click on the login, what is happening is it is showing you the Toast message over here, right? So this Toast message is shown because of this particular Toast API. So how do you show the Toast message? So you call toast.makeText. So what toast.makeText does, basically it shows the Toast message and then you pass the arguments. First argument is this. So what is meant by this argument? So this argument means this Toast message will be shown in the current activity. Okay, means this means this is going to be shown in the current screen. Then you will be putting the arguments over there. So we want to show the username and password. So I will be writing those username and password in the toast. And finally, I will see toast.length long. So what toast.length long will do now, it will basically show the toast message with the length long. So what is meant by length long? It means that toast will be shown for the longer duration over there. So that's the purpose of toast.makeText. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this thing. Okay, so this is how basically we are going to show the toast message. So after showing the toast message, let's say when I click on the login button, I also want to change the background color of the screen. Okay, so how can you do that? So how can you apply the different background color to the screen? So I can go into the activity main, and to the layout, what I will do is I will assign the ID. I will say my ID is background view. So what is the ID that I am putting in the linear layout? So ID that I am putting in the linear layout, it is the background view. So now in the main activity, I am going to write private linear layout background view, and below I will write background view is equal to linear layout find view by ID r dot id dot background view. And when you click on the button, I am going to say background view dot set background color. So there is a method on the layout, and that method is set background color. And if you apply the background color, I can write I want to apply the color dot say light green. Okay. And now let's run the application. And now you can see. So now I will enter some name, I will enter some password and click on login. And now you can see. So when I click on login, what is happening over here? So it is changing the background color to light gray over there. Okay. So this is how basically it is changing the background color of the screen. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. So today, what I would recommend you to do is today, please install the Android. So have you all installed the Android Studio on your PC? Is it installed? How about Swati? So Swati, do you have the Android Studio installed on your PC? Okay, not installed. Okay, so guys, what I'll do is, so today's session I will keep it short. What I want you to do is, please install the Android Studio, and I'm also going to ask you to download. So after installing the Android Studio, you have to download those Android SDKs as well. So whatever instructions that I have given you today, so please keep the environment ready. And after that, I'm going to send you this particular program to you. Okay, so you have to create a similar program. But after that, what we have to do is, so I'm also going to give you the assignment today. So after creating this program, you have to create an application. So I'll just mention it over here. Create a calculator application which will have two edit text and 4 buttons. Okay, so this calculator application will have two edit text, it will have two text fields, and it will have four buttons. So those four buttons will be add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Okay, and when you click on, let's say you enter number 10 in the first edit text, and if you enter the number 20 in the second edit text, and if you click on the add button, what should happen? It should perform the addition of those two numbers, 20 and 10. The answer will be 30, and it will show that addition on the screen. It will show a pop-up message. When you click on subtract button, it is going to say 10 minus 20 is minus 10, and it is going to show a pop-up message with the minus 10 as answer. And you will ask them to multiply those two numbers, and whatever message you will get, you will show it as a pop-up, and finally divide. Okay, so you will be creating the calculator application in which you will keep two text fields and four buttons, and on click of those buttons, you should perform the calculation, and you should show the pop-up on the screen with the result. Okay, so you are going to use the same logic. You are going to use the get text method for getting the text from the edit text. You will be performing the addition, subtraction depending on which button you have clicked, and you will be showing the pop-up message on the screen. Okay, so this is the today's assignment. So this assignment I'm going to cover into one session, but what I want is I want you to set up the Android SDK today and practice this particular assignment. So you will have the clear picture on like how the interaction goes. And from tomorrow onwards, we will start with the advanced and Android application development. So from tomorrow, we will start developing end-to-end applications. Okay, so is that fine, guys? So will you able to do this particular assignment, calculator assignment today, and can you send it to me on my email ID? Okay, so that's great. So guys, today's session I will keep it short, but from tomorrow we will start sharp at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we will have a session till 10 o'clock. Okay, so from tomorrow onwards we will have a class 8 to 10. But make sure that before tomorrow's class you are setting up the Android SDK, you are downloading all the SDK tools in the Android Studio, and you are also downloading the Genymotion emulator. And how would you start the Genymotion emulator? So you will just launch it from your program files, and when you click on this, the Genymotion emulator should start. Okay, so just make sure that before tomorrow's class, all the environment is set up, everything is set up. So from tomorrow, whatever programs that I'll teach you, you will be able to practice at your end also. Okay. So thanks for joining, guys, and I'm going to send this particular code to all of you. And today, try to create the calculator program, and please send me the source code by the end of the day today, so I can evaluate that and I can give you the inputs in case if you're missing anything. Okay, so thank you for joining me, guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and we will start with the further session.